if ever human nature being what it is, sometimes it's just how do you keep going? How do you keep pushing? And last week might have been an example of that. Like you had the points thing sewed up. It wasn't going to help you here. I mean, obviously you want to win, I'm sure, but do you ever have to fight that? And was ever maybe a point in your career where there was an example where you felt like you didn't give it your all and it was a lesson?
Yeah, I think over the course of my career, there's definitely been tournaments and shots that I would like to have back in terms of like that was the one thing I always learned. My biggest takeaway from playing with Tiger was the amount of intensity that he took to every shot, and that's something I've talked with a lot of guys about. And Tiger was just so different in a sense of the way he approached each shot. It was like the last shot he was ever going to hit. I mean, I've only played with Tiger once in a tournament. I played with him in the 2020 COVID Masters, and I think he made a 10 on the 12th hole, and he birdied I think 5 of the last 6. And it was like, what's this guy still playing for me? He's won the Masters 4 or 5 times, and best finish he's going to have is like 20th place at this point. And I just admired the intensity that he brought to each round, and that's something that I try to emulate. I think, if I'm going to take time to come out here each week, like it's not an easy thing to play golf tournament. Like if I'm going to take a week off, I might as well just stay home. I'm not going to come out here to take a week off. And so if I'm playing in a tournament, I'm going to give it my all, and it's really all it boils down to.
Time for a few.
When you hear that you're the last guy since Tiger to win back-to-back years, 5 tournaments, stuff like that, and the inevitable comparisons to Tiger, what do you make of that?
I mean, I think it's a greater discussion. I think in the simplest form, I think it's very silly to be compared to Tiger Woods. I think Tiger is a guy that stands alone in the game of golf, and I think he always will. I mean, Tiger inspired a whole generation of golfers. I mean, you've grown up watching that guy do what he did week in, week out. I mean, it was pretty amazing to see. And like, I talk about a mental change I made because I played 1 round of golf with him in the tournament. I've only played 1 tournament round of golf with Tiger Woods, and it completely changed the way I look at how I play tournaments. I mean, I can't tell you the look on his face when we got to the first green. And I look over, and we're in 20th place, we're kind of playing, yada, yada, yada. And I look over, and this guy is just locked in. And I was taken back. I was like, holy smokes. And then we got to the second hole, and he had this chip shot, and he looked at it like it was an up and down to win the tournament. And I'm like, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. And so I think he completely transcended the game of golf. And I think when it comes to me, I don't even like comparisons to other players because I think when we come out here, I'm doing the best that I can to be the best version of myself. I don't think about legacy. I don't think about the past. I try to get the most out of myself each week. And I don't really love the comparisons at all.
Barry had mentioned earlier, was there anything to the psychology or the weirdness of starting a tournament with a 2-shot lead before you've hit a shot, of getting into it? I'm sure you were, but was there anything that made that weird?
Yeah, it's very weird. When you talk about expectations and stuff like that, the Tour Championship for me was a tournament that I hadn't won before. I had, a pretty tough loss to Rory here in 2022. And like, for me last year, this was one of the hardest tournaments for me to play just because you show up and it was like, in 2022, I remember finishing the season, going home, everyone's like, hey man, great year, but I'm sorry about East Lake. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm mad I lost too, but at the end of the day, I had a pretty cool year. I played some great golf, and it just frustrated me. It's like, I think it was Phil Jackson said, you're only a success at the time you're performing a successful act, and it just irked me so bad finishing off the year where guys are like, hey, great playing, I'm sorry about how it ended, and it's like, you know what, man, I mean, won the Masters this year, won a few other tournaments, it was a pretty good year. And so going into 2024, it was like, going into East Lake, Teddy brought up a good point. He's like, hey man, it's tough enough sleeping on a lead. He's like, you've been sleeping on a lead for this golf tournament since February. Like, I was leading the entire year in the FedExCup, and it all comes down to a 4-day tournament on a golf course that I hadn't really played great on. And it was a challenging week. I mean, it was stressful, but we do what we always do, and just tried to focus on the execution and ended up winning this tournament. But it was one of the hardest tournaments I had to play just because I've been sleeping on a lead for 6 or 7 months. I mean, it's a weird feeling, and so that's why I prefer this format. I think it's great to have just a really great golf tournament to finish off the year.
Already leading the tournament like you have been last year, could you, regardless of how it affects you, How do you like the format this year? Is this the best way to finish it? Everybody starts even. What are your thoughts on that whole setup?
Yeah, I mean, I guess no more sandbagging for me at the end of the year. I was not a huge fan of the starting strokes format. I was a fan of the points format, but I understand why people wanted to move away from that. With FedEx being a huge sponsor and having to give out 2 trophies at the end of the week and explaining the season-long race, and this to me is a much simpler format to end the year. And in order to qualify for this championship, you have to have a great year. To be one of the 30 best players on our tour and make it to this tournament is an extreme accomplishment. And one of the things people may pick apart is, well, some guys can win the season-long race without winning a tournament until the tour championship. And I would argue making the tour championship without winning a tournament is a pretty cool accomplishment. Not in the sense of not winning, but you have to put together a really consistent, great season in order to qualify for the tour championship, especially without winning. And then when it comes to this week, we all start even par, and it's time to go chase what you want. In order to win tournaments, you have to play good golf at the right time, and if you want to win our season-long race, you have to play really good golf at the end of the season. And going into this week, it's we all start even par, and it's time to go. If you want to win the FedExCup, you got to go win this week. Yeah, I was not a fan of it. I didn't think it was a good way to end the year. For a variety of reasons, I'm much more happy with this format. I think having a good golf tournament on a really good golf course to finish off our season is extremely important. And I think when you look at it this week, we're going to have a difficult test, a good test of golf to finish off the year the right way. And it's exciting for us as players. It's exciting to be able to qualify for this tournament. It's exciting to have an opportunity to win this tournament, the FedExCup.
Hey, Brody.
First, real quick, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of indications that this was obviously, kind of made mid-season, and that are there more things that you think could go forward maybe next year in the future to make it even better to a championship?
Yeah, I think as we continue to evolve with this golf course, and I think as we continue to improve the test and also improving the point system for the playoffs, I think the way it is right now, I maybe overvalues play at the end of the year in terms of qualifying for this tournament. It may, I don't know if cheapens the right word, but I think having such a drastic difference in the points in the last 2 weeks, I think creates some inconsistencies in terms of rewarding the great seasons we have in order to qualify for the tournament. And so when I imagine the Tour Championship, I imagine it being the most difficult tournament to qualify for in golf. I think in order to make it here, you have to have a really great season. And then, the reward for making it here is having a chance to win the FedExCup. And I think it's a great reward at the end of the season. I think having a really good golf tournament as our last event is extremely important to us. And people have tossed around a lot of different formats for this tournament, and I think a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about match play and stuff like that. The reality is we've had a match play tournament for a number of years. We had a match play tournament for 4 or 5 years in one of the biggest growing markets in the country, and that tournament still didn't succeed. And so I don't think match play is the best way to crown a season-long champion. And I think changing the format for your last tournament is kind of quite silly. And people love the comparisons to other sports, but golf is simply not like other sports.
Need to have Ted Scott back on the bag this week, and how did he help you win it last year?
Well, yeah, it's extremely important to have Ted back on the bag. I don't think it's any secret that my career trajectory changed quite a bit when he came on the bag. I went from a guy that hadn't won on tour to a guy that started winning at a pretty good pace immediately upon him entering the picture. And I think what Ted has meant to me on the golf course, I think the results really do speak for themselves. And he's a great asset for me on the golf course. He's a great friend, and I feel like we're a really good team. I mean, he works super hard. I mean, he has a relentless work ethic as well. And, there's a lot more to a great caddy than just giving me really good numbers all the time. I mean, Teddy he has a lot of different roles on the course, and it's great to have him back this week. Obviously, he's got some personal stuff still going on that I'm not going to elaborate on, but it's really great to have him back on the bag this week.
More over here, Don.
Scottie, as you keep getting better and better, you're now becoming more of a personality away from the golf course. You're the guy that everybody wants to hear from. You're playing starring roles in movies. How have you grown into that role, and do you feel more comfortable with being in the position you're now in away from the course?
Yeah, I mean, for me, nothing really has changed. I mean, if you guys want to ask me questions, I'm more than willing to answer them. To be honest with you, I don't really have much to say. It's like, because my life hasn't changed. I have, so essentially sometimes it feels like a double life. I come out here and I play tournaments and have a lot of fun doing it. It's an amazing experience. And then when I go home, have the same friends. I practice at the same golf course. I mean, my home life hasn't changed a bit since I've had some success out here, and my life on tour has changed a good amount. It's a lot different for me to show up to a golf tournament. That's why I talk about, if I show up to a golf tournament, I'm here for a purpose, and that's to compete as hard as I can. If I want a vacation, I'm going to go on vacation. I'm not going to show up to a golf tournament to have a week off. Like if I want a week off, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of the public eye. I'm going home. I'm going to retreat a little bit and get rest so that I can come back out here and compete. I guess nothing really has changed for me very much. I don't really know how to elaborate on it other than that.
All right, Scotty, to finish up, we have a question from Vincent here.
Good morning, Scotty. I'm a big fan of yours.
Good morning, Vincent.
I'm currently a senior at Drew Charter High School, and I'm on the golf team. I was kind of just wondering if you have any tips for us as we head into this year as we're competing for a state championship. What are some advice you can give us?
I would say when I step up on the first tee, the thing I focus most on is my preparation. And when it comes to tournament golf, you always want to win tournaments, but when it comes down to just trying to execute each shot. So when I get on the first tee, I want to be able to tell myself that I did everything that I could in order to play well that week. So I've done the practice, I've gotten used to the course, I've spent the time in the gym, I've got my mind right, I've checked all the little boxes that I need to in order to play well. And so when it comes time to hit that first tee shot, I can swing freely and know that it's just time to compete. I'm not worried about the other stuff. I'm not worried about anything outside of trying to compete in that golf tournament. And so the thing I always fall back on is the work that I put in to get to that point. So I would encourage you guys to continue to work hard and have fun while you're doing it. I mean, playing high school golf is such a great joy. I mean, playing with my teammates growing up, like I have so many great memories of my buddies growing up playing golf, and enjoy it, enjoy the practices, and just have fun with it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good luck
Scotty.
this week.
Yeah,
Thanks, Scotty.